Hi, it's Antoinette of Montalvo International. I primarily focus on Montalvo International Women in Life and Leadership, but the Lord has been pushing me to also release more prophetic words on His promises and based on His promises that He's been giving me. I usually like to write them out, but really felt like I needed to release a video recording, and so just wanted to share some thoughts that the Lord has been speaking to me about as we were spending some time actually during our prayer session at our church. Our church's name is New Life Prophetic Ministries in South Carolina, and my pastors have been, encouraging me to be able to release more words in formats like this. And so just wanted to release something that was coming up as we were praying and just praying for a variety of different things in our church community, in the nation, globally. And one thing that kept coming up as I was praying was checkpoints, and specifically security checkpoints. So I want to just share a little bit of what God has been speaking to me about security checks, and think about this more from a spiritual standpoint and from a prophetic standpoint. I'm not necessarily saying from a actual national or global security checkpoint, but just kind of flow with me on this. So I heard the Lord say security check. And when I just kind of sat with that and I was like, just kept hearing that over and over, I wasn't really sure, what does He mean by security check? And as I prayed more and just kind of sat and just asked the Holy Spirit for revelation, I was led to look up the definition of a security check. And it means a verification of somebody's identity and trustworthiness. Again, security check, one of the definitions is a verification of somebody's identity and trustworthiness. And so when I started just sitting with that and asking the Holy Spirit to just help me understand what He wanted me to know, these are the thoughts and the words that I heard from Him. Some of you are at the security check moment of your breakthrough, of the promises that God has for you. Not only is He running you through a check, but He's also running those around you through one too. He's not playing games with you. He's not trying to mess with your heart or the desires that He's placed in there. He is making sure that the things that He has promised you and the desires of your heart are in order. If you felt extreme shaking in your life lately, consider it a part of the security check. He is, as His word says, that everything that can be shaken will be shaken, but it's so that things that cannot be shaken will remain. And so He started speaking to me about launch time and thinking about preparing for launch and preparing things to take off. And many of you may have been saying, Lord, I've heard this multiple times, and it seems like year after year after year after year I hear this. But He says, again, it's launch time and the field is open. The way is clear. And He started giving me the metaphor of planes. And even today, I was just kind of scrolling through something on my timeline, and someone had posted this dad joke about airplanes in it and taking off. So I'm like, Lord, okay, I got you. But He had me just jot down, just like a plane before it takes off, it must have multiple safety checks or security checks to make sure no errors or mistakes happen mid-flight, because that is not the time for someone to find out something is wrong. And if you've flown in an airplane before, sometimes you can be left grounded or taxiing on the runway for hours and hours and hours if there's an error message that comes up, if something's not working. And even recently, my family and I had to fly to go take care of some family matters. And there were several moments where we were just delayed because of safety checks and security checks to make sure the plane was in order. And the pilot kept saying, your safety is our priority. We want to make sure things are in order here so that we don't have an issue up there. And that, in the moment, it was inconvenience. And it's like, when are we going to get there, etc. But really, when you think about it, you don't want to have that kind of error or any kind of errors or any warning messages while you're flying. And a lot of times the pilot made up the difference in the air. And so I feel like even that's, an encouragement for someone. But again, a flight will stay grounded or taxiing for hours on the ground simply to avoid errors in the air, which could be very costly. the chaos, the confusion, the disruption, much of what you may have been experiencing around these moments that God may be putting you through security checks, or again, making sure your identity is in check, making sure the trustworthiness of you and other people around you for the promises that he has for you are in check. You may get disruptions and smoke and mirrors that come along with the process. And those things are just to get you discouraged. And I heard the Lord say, you are in a blessed season. And this is for those who, you know, you've been seeking God, you've been laying everything down, you've been yielding, you've been standing on his word and his promises, you've done what he's asked you to do, you've moved away, separated yourself, you've launched what he said to launch, you've prayed how he said to pray. And he's saying you're in a blessed season, even if there are things around you that look like loss. The Father is making security checks so that as you move forward, nothing is harmed. The enemy is throwing every last bit of attempt to make you think otherwise. However, the Lord is repairing any breaches that have tried to rise up along the way. During this moment of repairing of a breach, one can feel vulnerable, frustrated, and impatient during a check. But trust the Father that he can see much more than you can. He knows what to look for, he knows what to secure, and he knows who to remove and what to remove. He also sees every scheme of the enemy and will go to lengths to make sure he doesn't mess this up. The enemy is a defeated foe and has nothing left but dried up tactics, smoke, and mirrors. So I just wanted to encourage someone with that today. Stay encouraged. Something that I posted recently in our stories was Joshua 1:9. You know, be bold and be of good courage. The Lord your God will go with you wherever you go. So in the places that he's taking you, the places that you're going, be encouraged and be with good courage that he is leading you, that he is checking to make sure things are in order, and just hang tight. It may feel like an inconvenience. It may feel, you know, downright overwhelming, but let the Lord do what he needs to do to make sure as he moves you forward in the season that he has you in, that there are no errors in your launch, no errors in the places that he's taking you, no things that detract from or cause some kind of issue while you're in the air and, you know, lead to something else detrimental. The Lord is gracious. He's compassionate. He's slow to anger and abounding in love. And he has great things in plan for you and in store for you. So I hope this encourages someone. Again, you know, just know that the Lord has his moments of security check around you to make sure that the promises and the things that he has set for you are in order and that nothing steps in the way of that. And that I just pray that God just continues to encourage you as you go along in every step of the way. I also wanted to share that for those who may not have connected with our website before, we have a website, montalvointernational.org. Montalvo International, just to give a little background, because I may not have been able to do that for some who maybe are following along with the page. We first started off based off of a community initiative that we were launching, a community health initiative in our local community and the surrounding areas to really promote health and wellness in those areas, and working alongside our local church. And it's branched into, you know, much more. It's expanded into a bit more, and God is just really expanding it in terms of us being able to encourage kingdom-minded people to live kingdom-driven lives. And so if you haven't checked out the website, check out our website. We have a free family, well, it can be for anyone, but it's a prayers and declarations digital resource. It's for families, it's for families with children, those who are married, and even those who are not married, or maybe you're soon to be married or wanting to be married. These declarations are for anyone, although there are specific family ones, but just words that we even speak over our own family and over our own selves, to speak over our destinies, over our lives, over our health, over our relationships, over our children. And so I hope it encourages you. If you go to montalvointernational.org, and it's also, you can click on the link in our bio, you can just click on the subscribe or connect button or the pop-up that comes up and put your email address in, and you'll get that right to your email address. So I hope that you're encouraged. I hope that you are blessed, and may God just keep you going through these security checkpoints so that you come out victorious in everything that you do. Take care.